Booktube-A-Thon of 2015 is officially over, and I'm pretty happy with the results. Out of the 9 books I set out to read, I only read 7, but I mean, that still completes the challenge, and I managed to complete every single one of the challenges on the challenge list this year, which I'm pretty happy about. And I know I said in my intro video that I would film a short clip of my reaction after each book I read, but I couldn't be bothered to do that. So what I did instead was write down a few short comments of my initial reaction. So the first book that I read was It by Alexa Chung, and this was the book that I read without putting down. And to prove it to you, here is a fast forward of me reading the book. Pretty impressive, eh? No, actually the book took me about 40 minutes to read. It's a really short book and it's mostly pictures, to be honest. So what I wrote down after I first finished the book was, I really wanted to like this book, it was really pretentious, and I liked the photographs. And I gave it an overall 2.5 out of 5 stars. Second book that I read was Through the Woods by Emily Carroll. This fulfilled the challenge of reading the last book that I required because this arrived for me on the second day of the Booktube-A-Thon. What I wrote after I finished reading this book was, genuinely terrifying, beautiful illustrations, and an overall 5 out of 5 stars. And I probably won't sleep tonight either. The third book that I read was Lost at Sea by Brian Lee O'Malley. And I actually kind of reviewed this book on the 6th day of the Booktube-A-Thon because the challenge was to play Chubby Bunny while reviewing a book. Well, my initial reaction was cute and adorable, very Scott Pilgrim-esque, and an overall 4 out of 5 stars. The fourth book that I read was Horror Store by Gertie Hendricks, and what my initial reaction was that it was funny, witty, and honestly quite scary. The fifth book that I read was The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer, and my thoughts after I finished the book were slow start, confusing but honest, real. And what I meant when I said that this book was confusing but honest and real was this book is about a boy with schizophrenia. And obviously when you have schizophrenia, the world doesn't really make sense around you. You kind of can't differentiate between reality and what's up in your mind. And that kind of made the book quite interesting but still confusing to read. The next book that I read was The Opposite of Loneliness by Marina Keegan. My initial reaction to this book was beautiful and tragic. She could describe things so perfectly, like the kind of sentence that you would say, yes, that's it, that's exactly it, you got it, too. And it was really interesting and thought-provoking. The last book that I read was Codename Verity, which, as I mentioned before, is one of Yasmin's favorite books. And now it is one of my favorite books. What I thought about the book after I finished reading it was such a good premise and so well delivered, interesting writing style, and just yes. And that is it for all the books that I read during this Booktube-A-Thon. I also did 2 of the challenges. I did the first day and the 6th day, so the Domino Challenge and the Chubby Bunny Challenge, which I will also link down below. Thanks for following me on this journey, and I hope you're happy.